Welcome! Today we will crochet a colorful back bag with an owl face for girls. And it might be suitable for boys as well if we change the colors. So let's get started. The yarn we will use for this bag is Ollie's Cotton Gold. It's up to us to choose thicker yarn or any other kind with different material. Let's begin with the base of the bag. We'll start with a chain of 45 stitches. Skip the first 3 stitches and start working on the 4th stitch. We used to use a size 3 hook with cotton gold yarn. But now we're using size 2.5. Because size 3 gives us a reasonable stitch size, not too loose or too tight. And this is the ideal size. But since we need a tight stitch, we will use 2.5. It'll be a little bit tighter. So we can choose a hook with a 0.5 millimeter bigger or smaller than the one we usually use. It'll be a slight difference, increasing or decreasing the thickness of the stitch. But if we used 1 millimeter bigger or smaller hook, it'll make a big difference, making it too tight or too loose. Now we will start working double crochets. So far we created a chain of 45 stitches. And skipped the first 3 stitches. And worked a double crochet in the 4th stitch. And we'll continue the whole row with double crochets. Now we finish the whole chain except for the last one. We will work 6 double crochets in the last stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we will start working double crochets on the other side of the chain until we get to the end. So here at this corner or curve, we worked 6 stitches in the last chain stitch. Then we work our way back on the other side working double crochets to the end. Now the back side of the chain is done. Double crochets all the way. and we will work 5 double crochets in the last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we will join the round with a slip stitch at the first of the 3 chains we worked at the beginning. And now a whole round is completed and we worked more stitches at both ends to form these curves. 6 here, and 5 here. Now we will start the second row and make the same round. Start with 3 chain stitches. And work all the way with double crochets until we get to this curve. We will work same number of stitches. Now we've reached the first corner, so we will make the curve of the second row. At the first row we worked 6 stitches that formed the curve, so we'll work on these 6 stitches. 2 stitches in each stitch, to make the curve wider and this part would be flat. So at each of these 6 stitches we will work 2 double crochets. The first, and another 2 double crochets in the second stitch, and the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. Now we completed working 2 double crochets in each of the 6 stitches. Continue our way to the end of the second round, until we get to the other curve where we made more stitches. And in the middle we will work same number of double crochets. We'll repeat the same thing we did in this curve. We will double the number of stitches, 2 double crochets in each stitch. And join with a slip stitch. Then we start the next row. Chain 3. And work double crochets all the way until we get to the curve. Now we will make the curve of the third row. At the first row we worked 6 stitches and doubled that number in the second row and worked 12 stitches. We worked 2 stitches in each stitch, the first 4 stitches pattern, we will work 1 stitch in the first stitch, then 2 double crochets in the second stitch, then 1 double crochet in the third stitch, and 2 double crochets in the fourth stitch. So the pattern we followed for the first 4 of the 12 stitches is 1 stitch, then 2, then 1, then 2. For the next 4 stitches, we will work 2 double crochets in each of them. We make more stitches at the top of the curve so it's more relaxed and this part would be flat. So we worked 2 double crochets in each of the second 4 stitches. Now for the last 4 stitches, 1 double crochet in the first stitch, then 2 double crochets in the next one, then 1 double crochet, then 2 double crochets. So we worked 2 double crochets only in each of the 4 stitches in the middle. In first and third 4 stitches we followed the sequence of 1 double crochet, then 2, then 1, then 2. Now we will work our way to the end of the row with same number of double crochets. Now we've gotten to the end of the row, so again, 1 stitch, then 2 stitches, then 1 stitch, and we stop here. We worked 3 stitches as here we have 10 stitches, not 12. From here we'll start working 2 stitches. So 1 stitch in each of the first 3 stitches, then 2 in each of the next 4 stitches. Then 1 stitch for the first of the last 3. Then 2 stitches. Then 1 stitch. And join the round with a slip stitch. Chain 3 and start the 4th row. And work 1 double crochet for each stitch to the end as usual. Now we've reached the first curve. We will work only 1 double crochet in the first stitch, then 2 in the next stitch, then 1 stitch in the next stitch, then 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So we will work 1 stitch, then 2, then 1, then 2 until we finish all stitches of the curve. Then continue double crocheting until we've gotten to the second curve, and same as we did in the first one. 1 stitch, then 2, then 1, then 2. Now we completed the 4th round. And in each curve of this round the sequence was 1 stitch, then 2, then 1, then 2. We will start the 5th row. And we will work our way with double crochets until we get to the first curve. Now we will make the curve of the 5th row. And here, the first 2 stitches will be individual, then we make an increasing in the next one. So 2 individual stitches and 1 double. One thing to mention, that if you did exactly the same number of stitches as I did here, and the tension is too tight and the curve isn't relaxed enough, then we can increase the number of stitches. But we shouldn't make too many stitches, and we can increase in rows below or in the 4th or 5th rows. We can do 2 stitches or more in 1 stitch. And if that's not enough, we can add 1 more stitch in another stitch as well, instead of only 1 for each. So we shouldn't add too many stitches so that it won't get curly. We want it to be flat and relaxed, because too many stitches will cause it to be more loose. So as we said, we will do the curve this way, 2 individual stitches. Then 2 double crochets into the stitch after these 2 and complete this curve. And continue the whole row with double crochets until we get to the second curve at the end of the row, and we'll do the same as the first curve. The first 2 stitches are individual, then 2 stitches in the next one. Now we completed the base of the bag. If we wanted to increase the bag width, we can do more than 45 stitches at the starting chain. And if we wanted to increase the depth, we can work 1 or 2 more rounds as needed. Now we will start working the body of the bag. So we will start using the other colors. Chain 3. And now we will start making the wave stitch. And as we know, the wave has a top and a bottom. So we should pay attention how we're going to make the top and the bottom. Also pay attention that we will be working in the back loop. so the base of the bag is at the bottom and the body will be vertically founded on it. So we will work the double crochets into the back loop. Then count 6 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll cut off this end. And now for the bottom of the wave. We will work 1 incomplete double crochet, making and decreasing. For 3 sequential stitches. And join them. So we made decreasing for 3 double crochets together. Then we continue. 6 double crochets. We do them the normal way and into the back loop. The 4th, 5, 6. And now for the top of the wave. And it will be 3 double crochets in the same stitch. So we made the bottom with 3 double crochets. By making decreasing as we close these 3 stitches together. And increasing here, 3 double crochets in same stitch. Then continue the next 6 double crochets. And make another bottom. I'm making an incomplete double crochet, then making another one in the next stitch. And a third one in the third stitch, and join them together. And complete 6 double crochets. Before we make the next top. 4, 5, 6. And then 3 double crochets together in the next stitch. And continue the same way. It started to form now and will be more obvious in the next rows. This is the bottom, top, bottom, top. So same way, 6 stitches. The top was 3 double crochets together, then the bottom, and we follow the same pattern to the end. Now the first row is finished and we ended it with a slip stitch. And for the second row. And we will make 6 double crochets. Six. And here is a bottom, so we will make another bottom, decreasing 3 stitches together. Then 6 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And at the 7th we will make a top. And 3 double crochets in the same stitch. And another 6 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6. And make a bottom, 3 double crochets together. Making a decrease. And continue the same number and maintain the 6 double crochets between tops and bottoms. To keep the wave shape, as we can see it started to form. And continue this row, we will make 2 rows of each color. We finished the second row of this color. And followed the same pattern. Now we'll start with a new color. We will use the yellow. And it'll also be 2 rows. Chain 3. And we will follow the sequence without any changes, same 6 double crochets. That are between the tops and bottoms. These 6 stitches are indicating where we're making the wave top and bottom and align them vertically. This is a bottom here. Follow the same pattern, We'll do this row and the next one as we did the previous 2 rows, and all the next colors will be the same. 6 double crochets, then a bottom, then another 6, then a top, and same pattern for the whole bag. Now we finish the body of the bag. Check it out, this is the base of the bag. Then we started the wave shape. And we repeated the colors. We used 5 colors and repeated them with the same order. I repeated them 4 times. Colors and its repetition is your own choice. And if we want to increase or reduce the length of the bag, we can make more or less rows as needed. It's also your choice to repeat one color more than 2 rows. Now we will make the cover that will be on the top of the bag. We will start with a chain of 65 stitches. Skip the first 3 stitches. And make 1 double crochet in the 4th stitch. And continue on with double crochets for the whole chain. And this will be the width of the cover. We will make 17 rows. 17 rows of same number of stitches, with same number of double crochets without increasing or changing the order. All what we're going to do is 17 rows of double crochets above each other. Now this is the cover. We made it of 17 rows. 17 rows of double crochets with the same order. The width was the starting chain we made of 65 stitches, and we skipped the first 3 stitches. And after these 17 rows, we made another 4 rows with decreasing at the beginning and at the end. I will make 1 more row so the decreasing I made is clear enough. But we started the decreasing from the previous 4 rows, so the decreasing will be in the last 5 rows. These are the first 2 stitches. Make a decrease. Then I'll continue with double crochets to the end and make decreasing at the last 2 stitches. These are the last 2 stitches. And we make decreasing. This was the 5th row. So we made the first 17 rows all with same number. Then we made 5 rows with decreasing at the beginning and end of each of them. And now for the last step. A pattern at the edge of the cover. We will make reverse single crochets, chain 1, and go into the first stitch. Then pull through and make a reverse single crochet. It's just to decorate the cover and give it a little more weight and thickness at the edge. Now the cover is finished. And this is how the last row looks. After we finished it with reverse single crochets. Now the cover is done and we will attach it to the bag later. Now we will go for the straps of the bag. And we will start it with a chain of 19 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19. And we will also skip the first 3 and make a double crochet in the 4th stitch. The whole strap will be done with double crochets. And with same number of stitches, we will make 50 rows. So we will keep making same number of double crochets. 50 rows above each other. Now we will start the second row. We are making same number of stitches. As we said, we will make 50 rows. And of course we can increase the length of the straps. We adjust the length to fit the person we're making the bag for, and we can make more or less rows. So we can make more than 50 or less if we needed. So the number of rows is the factor that controls the length of the strap. Now we finish the strap, 50 rows. Fold it over like that. To make it more stronger. Then we connect it. Connect it like that. Adjust it to be exactly matched. And connect it with single crochets. This is the strap after connecting it. We will make the other one the same way and same number and connect it like this one. And connect the whole edge with single crochets. Now we will start making the owl eye. We will start with the white part. Start with 4 chain stitches. Then make 2 single crochets in each stitch. All of it will be with single crochets. So we've started with 4 chain stitches and joined them with a slip stitch. And in the next row we made 2 single crochets in each stitch. We will start the next row. Make 1 stitch. Then 2 stitches. And repeat this order. 1 stitch. then 2 stitches in the next one, making an increasing. And continue the second row. The 2 next rows with same pattern. 1 stitch then an increasing, and 1 stitch then an increasing. So the second, third and fourth rows are all done the same way, 1 2, 1 2. Now the 3 rows are finished, in which the pattern was 1 stitch then 1 then 2. Chain 1 and start a new row. The first and the second stitches will be individual and then 2 stitches together in the third one. And 2 individual stitch then 2 stitches in the next one. Individual, individual. Then 2 in the same stitch. Repeat, individual, individual, then 2. And we start the next row. And we'll increase the count of individual, so the first 3 are individual then 2 stitches in the fourth stitch. 1 individual, individual, and individual, then 2 stitches in the same stitch. And then individual, 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 now there are 3. Then an increasing, 2 stitches in the same stitch and continue the row this way. And start the next round. And we will also increase the number of individual stitches, so they will be 4 individual stitches then 1 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, then the increasing, 2 stitches in the same stitch. And continue the round same way, 4 individual then an increasing. The next and last round. It will be 5 individual stitches then an increasing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the increasing, 2 stitches in the same stitch. And continue this round to the end same way. Now the white part is finished, and we close it. We will start making the black part. Start with 3 chain stitches, and join them with a slip stitch, and we will make 2 single crochets in each of them. Then we start the next row, and make 1 stitch, then 2 single crochets, then 1 stitch, then 2 stitches, and join with a slip stitch. The next row will be the same pattern as well, 1 stitch then and increasing and then 1 stitch, and then 2 stitches. And join it. And now we finish the black part of the eye. Now we will make the beak. Start with 3 chain stitches. Skip 2 stitches and make 2 single crochets in the 3rd stitch. So now we have 3 stitches. Chain 1 and start a new row. And chain 1. We'll increase 1 stitch by going into the 1st stitch. So we increased 1 stitch in the new row or the 3rd row. The next row will be same number. Now we made 4 rows, and we will increase 1 stitch in the next row, because we don't want to add too much width. And 1 more stitch in the next one as well. And close it. Now the beak is finished. Now we will make a drawstring to close off the bag. It's pretty simple drawstring, we just cut off pieces of yarn of the colors we used with the desired length. And started by making a knot tying all of them together. Then we braided all the threads to the end, until we get to the end and tie another knot. This is the drawstring we will use to close the bag. Now all parts of the bag are finished, we just need to attach them all together. We will begin with the cover at the top of the bag. Place both owl eyes and the beak and form the owl face. Put the eyes in place, the white part here. place them evenly. And place the black part. And as we know, we will use a thread and sew them in their place. So first we start by attaching the black part to the white part of the eye with the thread. Now we're just holding them together with pins to mark their exact spot. So first we will sew both eye parts together, then we will sew the eye to the cover. Secure it in place with a pin. Then we sew the whole eye to the cover. And sew it with a thread, and because the cover doesn't have another layer on the back, so try to make the thread hidden as much as possible. And the beak, try to place it exactly in the middle. It will look better after the sewing. Now we will attach the straps to the bag. We will attach the straps to the back side of the bag. We will place it so the edge that we finished with single crochets is on the inside. Then we adjust it at the bottom to sew in on the right spot, which is at the curve or the beginning of the round, so it gives us some width. We will use the yarn needle or a thread, or we can use both if we wanted to secure it more in place. So we can use the yarn needle to hold it. And we can also use the regular thread as well. The space at the bottom is bigger. At the top we will place them almost at the center. At the beginning of the last color. They will be closer to each other than at the bottom. This is where we will attach it. And this is how the inside of the bag looks. If we wanted it to be a little bit more solid, we can attach an interior lining of any color we choose. Any color that matches the colors we used. Then we will weave this drawstring in here, so we can pull it and close off the bag. And now we will attach the cover. And the bag will be closed off more than this when we use the drawstring. This is the bag after attaching and sewing all parts together. We sewed both eyes and the beak. We sewed them all with a thread. We also sewed the cover at the back of the bag and both straps. At the bottom. And we weaved in the drawstring like so. Which we can use to close off the bag. And now the bag is finished. Thank you.